So someone I think of as an influencer is someone who, yes, has a massive following, but also someone who you can tell the barrier between what they think should be private and what should be public has sort of disappeared. I know, you look scared.
I'm Stephanie Rule. This week's NBC Think piece that is a must-read is so interesting, we decided it is a must-talk about. How Instagram influencers have created a nameless, faceless subclass. I am joined by the writer, Megan Angelo, the author of the upcoming book, Followers. Megan, let's start with the root of this story. Explain to us what you're writing about.
Well, what I'm really writing about is this moment we're at in the influencer era, where not only do we have these larger-than-life personalities that have people wanting to know what they eat, what they wear, where they go, but they have such a consistent and such a consistently flooding the world with content brand that they have people behind them who, without any real credit, without any real, skin in the game for themselves, are propping up these people sort of the same way that, girls used to prop up more popular girls at school. They write the captions, they help them scheme up different scenarios to capture, things to wear.
Okay, but where was this born? Because when you think back in media, for example, in New York City, I think Sarah Jessica Parker, the character Carrie in Sex and the City, became so influential because she went to real restaurants. We knew what she was wearing. We looked at the townhouse we thought she was living in the West Village. It wasn't a set. It was a real place. And girls like me, or maybe you and me, said, I want to be a Carrie. I want to live the Carrie Bradshaw lifestyle. It didn't feel like a character. It felt authentic. That's now changed from actors and actresses on a movie or a TV set to these no-name individuals. How does a no-name individual put on a leather jacket and become an influencer? Explain this.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is the step in between, when I think about how we got from Carrie to here, was really reality TV. I look back at the moment that the Girls on the Hills, for example, became a thing, and the Kardashians became a thing. And the most interesting thing about those people was that they were living their real, authentic lives online while never acknowledging that at the same time, in the real world, they were becoming the most famous people and sought-after people.
Okay, but this is the issue, authenticity. The reason we have fallen for the Kardashians is because we say they live the most fabulous life, but we also see them in their house putting their makeup on, arguing, not fitting in their skinny jeans. They're just like us. And they made us think, maybe because they're so flawed and we're so flawed, we could be just like them. I've never watched an Angelina Jolie movie and thought, I'm just like her.
No.
So it's that authenticity.
Yeah, they fight with each other, they wrestle down the stairs. But then at the same time, they turn around and know how to monetize things so well that, I thought about Kylie Jenner a lot while I was writing the book. Kylie Jenner in 2018 went on social media one day and said, I never even open Snapchat anymore. Like, it's boring to me. And the next day, when the markets opened, they had lost $1 billion in market value.
So is the issue that the authenticity is false? We look at these Instagram influencers online and say, this is the toothpaste that she likes, and that's how she's so beautiful. But because they're able to monetize it, is that where the authenticity dies?
I think the reason that you see the Kardashian Jenners being so good at it is because it's like authenticity that is real, but with savvy. Most people, I don't think, have both.
We know this, and we know that brands and advertisers have figured out that gets people more excited than an actor on a set pushing a product they know nothing about. But what this piece is about is starting to say, these influencers and their authentic lives, they're actors, and this is a set. This isn't just their bed. This isn't their messed up hair. There's actually someone creating these sets.
Right.
So talk to us about this subclass that you're talking about, because it's not somebody who just rolled out of bed and posted a picture.
No.
A lot goes into it.
Yeah, especially once the money starts rolling in, right? I mean, everybody starts out unpaid, but then once you start picking up sponsors, and once you start building a big enough platform that you can go to people and say, hey, 3.2 million people follow me, you really can't rely on your own bedhead. You have to have someone there who's going to say, okay, we know that we have success when we post about you eating avocado toast at 11 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. I'm going to make sure that we do that today. And so what we're seeing is some people who maybe would have ended up in different creative careers when creative capital was more centered in traditional media, who are doing stuff like this. And you know, who's going to pick up for them when the person whose face they're propping up decides to leave them in the dust one day?
But why is that a bad thing? Isn't that the way the world works? So if I'm a startup company and I have an idea and I say, I think what I'm going to make is going to be brilliant. I don't have any money to pay you. But you buy into my idea. You like it so much. And you say, I'm going to come work for you, Stephanie, 80 hours a week. And at the end, I say, great, super, my company's going to take off. I'm going to sell it to someone else. I didn't give you any equity in the company. Bye-bye. That's happened since the dawn of time. So if I'm a freelance photographer who can't get a lot of gigs, and I decide I'm going to be your personal photographer and bet on you becoming an influencer, and then you drop me, buyer beware. Isn't that the way the world's always worked?
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. I think we all have sort of horror stories within our origin stories, right? About that job where we didn't get our due, or that time we got cheated out of the great opportunity. I think what's kind of different about this is, like, if someone launches a startup and you work for them, but you get cheated out of it in the end, you can still look at a tangible thing, a company, a product, and say to yourself, I was a part of that.
How is that any different from an influencer that becomes a megastar and makes all this money? You could say in your resume, I once did this. How are the two any different?
You could, but I don't know. In my view, it's a more hollow thing. It's just someone's face. It's just someone who went off without you, never gave you any credit. And I don't know, you could put it on your resume. I would like someone to let me know how that works out.
Is it about that, or is it about exposing what exactly are these influencers influential for? The root of this is this woman who's now become almost a persona, a character, Carolyn Calloway. She is a very well-known, a famous Instagram influencer, and a woman who worked for her, who wrote her captions, who helped create this brand, wrote an op-ed saying this is complete BS. She isn't living this fabulous life. I made it up. So is it more about the woman writing the op-ed who said the story that I wrote was an actual lie? Or is it about these influencers that are getting paid millions of dollars? They're just a whole big fat lie.
Well, you know, I think it's about both of them, but I think it's about all of us too, because at this point, if you look at an influencer on Instagram, are you really looking at them and thinking, yes, I buy everything that's going on here? We all sort of know the cons at this point, but we still consume it, we still like it, and we still take their recommendations. And when I go on Instagram now, I do sort of put more stock in certain influencers' recommendations than I would say if I saw the jacket recommended in the fashion pages of a magazine.
Couldn't you say an influencer's photos are staged? It might be two unpaid interns, but they're stopping traffic to take a quick picture.
Yeah.
And they're writing a pithy quote, and isn't that the exact same thing as an advertisement?
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. I know all of that. And yet the paradox is, if I've been following this girl and looking at her face on a regular basis for days or months or years, for some reason I'm going to gravitate towards that more. I think we always used to understand, whether we were looking at a magazine or watching Sex and the City, that we knew what we were dealing with. And with influencer culture, we really don't know where it's going. And a lot of us are along for the ride.
So now that these beautiful people are not just models in magazines who we're looking at, smiling and moving on, or once in a while seeing the party pages in a magazine, but now that we can follow every move of the day of these people with these cool, fabulous lives, is all of this turning us back into who we were, girls who were freshmen in high school, coveting, following every move of the coolest girls in our school who were seniors, who were captains of our cheerleading squad, and we're watching exactly how they wear their socks and what they eat for lunch. Are we now high school freshmen again?
A little bit, and you know, it's not even as simple as just the jacket or the dress. I think the biggest part of it is feeling like there are people out there who have wonderful things to do and wonderful people to be with all day, and no real life can compare to that.
Megan, thank you so much. Great conversation.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.